Okay. Okay, I'm gonna have Jared read off the minutes that he has from last meeting. I will tell you this. I now have the password and the email to the other documents. I cannot yet get into it. Hopefully that will happen tomorrow, where the recording will be so that we can finalize everything on the minutes. I'm going to hand that over to you, Jared. Go ahead and show us what you have.
Sure. And I just want to start by, saying that before I proceed, this was based off of the rough sketch that I did of the minutes whenever I was in the meeting last time. And since we haven't been able to access the recording, I'm going to ask that everyone else please be a little bit mindful of that, and also being aware as we read through the minutes. And then if you have any corrections or things that I might have missed within the minutes, I please encourage you to do so. Part of where I might need help is identifying some phone numbers that I had, but other than that, I will go ahead and share what I was able to come up with. So I'll read through this since I was not able to distribute this prior to the meeting. And someone entered the room. So to begin, the meeting was called to order at approximately 7 p.m. on the 24th by Lee Kuntz. We had 26 members in attendance. I would bring the members' attention to the highlighted names or numbers if anyone, and this is in the Google Drive as well, so I might need some folks to help me comment on who these folks were, because I don't think we went through and asked people to name themselves on Zoom. Here are the guests that I recorded in attendance, which were Executive Director Ryan Frankenberry and the President of the West Virginia Democratic Federation of Women, Pam Van Horn. Then we moved to the adoption. Now here's another part where I think there might be a need for review. I don't know if it was separately an adoption of the agenda or if it was just combined with a approval of the Secretary's report. I have drafted it assuming that there was an agenda followed by a reading of the minutes in the form of a Secretary's report. But if this is incorrect, I would be glad to make that correction when provided. But other than that, it records that Pam Klein moved and then Aline Harris seconded, and it was adopted unanimously for the agenda, and then the minutes by the Secretary, which I drafted on behalf of the Secretary, and that was unanimous. We went to a report of the chair. The chair report offered apologies for absences and explained a recent death in the family. The vice chair reported on the work of the recommendation of the bylaws committee, which recommended the adoption of its revised draft of the CCA bylaws. Here again, I'd also need some help. And then I think this was ruled on, but I think I'd still like to see the recording on it of where it's was the original motion a unanimous consent, or was it just without objection, or how exactly that was framed. But what we have recorded in these drafts of the minutes is that there was a voice vote in which it appeared to be over 2/3 of it. The chair called for no's and recorded his vote would be no. And then my point of information about if the bylaws passed, and then it is that the chair ruled that the ayes have it and the bylaws passed and were adopted. Then we got to a report on the progress of the county chair's guide, and Secretary McClintock providing an update on that, and also that it was accessible within the Google Drive, but I think he might have a little bit more up-to-date version of that. We had a discussion on poll workers, how the need is very desperate all across our state within our counties, and we see organizing coordination going on trying to resolve that issue. I tried to summarize the executive director's report, which was about the DNC and endorsing our presidential nominee, Harris, and that the association was informed about Corey Roman's departure. And I will fix that spelling there. About the 60th annual meeting for the Democratic Women, that's September 20th through the 22nd, 4 Parks, Charleston. I think the deadline for buying pages might have passed, but that was at this time. And if you have anyone that wants to set up a women's group or get involved, here's the ability to contact Pam Van Horn. And then at 7:56, we had adjournment. At this time, I would yield back to the chair. I'm not sure the best way to then handle, if there would be any recommendations at this time, or if it would just be to perhaps table this until more information comes in or people have an opportunity to comment.
Does anyone have a motion to table this?
I'll so move.
Any seconds?
I'll second Ben Barkey.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
I'll stop sharing my screen now. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so next on the agenda is the chair report. There are a couple of specific things that I wanted to discuss tonight. One is Harris wall signs. When they get in, and we start to get them from the state party, I think for distribution purposes, we might have to Pony Express this, like getting them from Charleston to the south and to the north and to the eastern panhandle. If anyone wants to help in that endeavor, please reach out to me after the meeting. I will put my my contact information in the chat, and just reach out to me and we can try to coordinate everything after tonight's meeting. And I'll try to connect everybody together.
Tammy, can I ask a
Yes.
question?
Mhm.
I know that there's signs coming from the state party, but
Mhm.
Lee had signs he was selling. I don't know if it's appropriate to mention on here, but should I just contact him directly? Because we got 40 of his signs. And
I
paid
guess
him
you
for them.
could contact him directly. I don't know where he got his signs.
I think they were made in Jefferson County.
Okay. I would contact him directly if you want signs.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna text him because I thought that would be discussed tonight when I saw signs on here. Because, yeah, so, okay,
No, I mean, yeah, I would
text
contact
him.
him directly. I do not know anything about those signs. Obviously, if he's still got them, by all means.
Okay, all right.
Any other questions on that?
Could we yield to Cal possibly? Would Cal have any additional insights? Because I think Cal is going to distribute from Morgantown.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I had talked with Lee and I was kind of going to be the point of contact of distributing to like Mon, Marion, Harrison, and potentially the Northern Panhandle if anybody had that.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we have a way of getting them.
okay.
We have somebody that can come down to you or help you with distribution.
Okay,
Yes, we'll
perfect.
take care of that. And Lee contacted me. He's shipping the buttons that people ordered and the sign. As soon as they're ready, he'll be contacting us, he said. He's still waiting for, the delivery of the order.
Cal,
And
call me
Barb,
afterwards or get in
that's
touch with
funny.
me afterwards and I'll get you the information on my person who's willing to drive around and distribute signs.
Sounds good.
That was
Okay.
those were Lee's signs. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, because that was my understanding that Cal, and I'm in Randolph County, Cal.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I can drive somewhere. I didn't want to really drive all the way to the Eastern Panhandle, but
Yeah.
I would be willing to drive and pick ours up somewhere in Marion County, if you have the ones that we bought from Lee.
Yeah,
So,
I can definitely connect with him.
Organize that,
and,
whatever, Marion has, I think, 10 coming in as well. So we could just
Mhm.
put your 40, my 10 together. We'll get 50. Cal can, we'll coordinate getting them to Marion's HQ offline.
Yep.
okay, yeah, just let me know because I can come and get them if it's not super far away. So,
Okay, everyone,
can
can we like
yeah.
put contact information in there? And when we're trying to figure out how to do this, we can do this offline when we're not in the meeting. I think that would be a little bit easier.
Can I interject for a second, Tammy?
I'm sorry.
Can I interject for a second?
Sure.
Cal, do you have the signs currently?
No.
Okay,
The last I heard from Lee was his signs were going to come in around September 3rd.
okay. Loop me in because I go back and forth to Morgantown usually once a week and I can bring them to Tucker and then get them to Cindy, for instance.
Tammy, do you have signs now?
I do
Or
not.
you? Okay.
I do not. This is for when the signs come in.
Okay.
Is there an issue with chat permissions? I think people are trying to share their contact information and it's only coming through as a direct message. Is Ryan on?
I am on, and that is a system that we have set up for most of our meetings, that it comes to the co-host or host, so that there aren't side conversations happening.
Is there a way to copy paste really quick though, just to get off Tammy's information and yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm not following what you're saying.
I put my contact information in the chat, but it's only going to Jared. Instead of no one else can see it.
Then yeah,
I
Jared, you
did
should be able to
too.
copy and paste it.
I'm trying to copy
I
and
don't
paste.
see it.
I'm struggling to get I might just have to retype it. So I'll work on that, everyone. My apologies. I'll get on that.
Okay. All right. Any other questions about the signs and the distribution?
Yes. We talking about signs for like from the state party or just the signs that were ordered?
I was talking about the signs from the state party when the state party gets them in, and getting them out to the rest of us, distributing them. And we need to coordinate something to get them from Charleston to other parts of the state. Which I'm thinking we're just gonna have to get in the car and drive, and I'm willing
Right.
to drive to go get some. But I'd like it so that no one person is driving, like 5
Right.
hours down and 5 hours back.
Right. And I can pick up for Cabell Lane and Mason down here. But do we know when about that should happen, Ryan, or?
No, if I could jump in, I'll go ahead and jump in now.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
So the signs have been ordered just recently. It's probably going to take several days to get them, just like the other signs. I will say that prior to the passing of the torch, we already still had about 1,000 signs left from the 2,500 that I ordered earlier this year. So it's going to take a little bit to get in. Appreciate your patience. Glad folks bought other signs. There are absolutely signs available on the Harris store for $20. This is not unusual. The presidential campaigns have not been very eager to do signs. That goes all the way back to 2008 with Obama. So we're going to get you some signs. It's going to cost pardon my French, shit ton of money. So we'd like to really make sure that we're getting those signs in supporters' yards, not just on roadsides. We will not have enough signs to just be tossed on roadsides where, the big sign wars happen. So that's that. Secondly, while I've got the mic, I'm going to send out a form to all county chairs to please fill out information on your county headquarters if you have them. I know several have already shared some, and I appreciate that. But my intention is to have a landing page just for headquarters on our website. And so, when I get that out, please do send it in. Oh, hold on, I'm looking here. And the third thing I'd like to just talk about, we are scheduled for our Roosevelt Kennedy dinner, and it is going to be very, very soon. So it's going to be September 27th. That's a Friday. We have a hold on the calendar right now, and it will be at the Civic Center, the Convention Center, essentially just like last year.
Okay, thank you, Ryan.
Yeah, one more thing, just to when I get back from my dad's funeral this weekend, we're going to be diving headfirst into doing some systematic direct voter contact structures for our counties, and for also the enormous volume of volunteers that are flooding into our website right now. One thing that I would like to do with the headquarters / just outreach to see the forum is, if you have capacity to take on volunteers, I need to know that, because we want to spread these new people that are getting energized, particularly by the Harris campaign, but also by all of our other candidates. we want to make sure that they're being sent to places that will be able to utilize them. And it's okay if you don't have the infrastructure right now, that's fine. We will help you get the infrastructure, but also we're going to have essentially some statewide phone banks rolling coming in September that we can shut, you can send your folks to. It's a big team lift. And finally, the last thing I do want to talk about is we had an incredibly successful national convention trip last week. I mean, by all accounts, it was incredible, particularly for West Virginia. We got national attention, particularly with our roll call. And Gene Evansmore and Catherine Prather, who delivered our roll call, will be on The Last Word with Lawrence O'Donnell tomorrow night. So if you got the MSNBCs, turn it on. It will actually be Ali Velshi sitting in for Lawrence, but that just happened today. So we're going to get more national attention, but more than just that attention, we were able to advocate for West Virginia and for our candidates, and we really, I think, had a massive impact on our Senate race in particular. Glenn was with us the whole week. Stephen Wendland was with us the whole week. Mayor Williams was with us for half of the week and got some great connections there. But when I say we took advantage of it, our seats were wonderful. They were in the front of the arena, right behind Virginia, but more importantly, we were right in front of Senator Schumer's VIP booth or VIP box. And so we saw a lot of VIPs. Glenn got to shake hands with a lot of VIPs. And we also made a lot of contacts for the arcade dinner. So that was incredibly successful. Our roll call was incredibly unique, even for that night of what was frankly a really energetic roll call. It was fun. I sat through it 4 different times because we did 3 run-throughs and then the real one. And it was fun the whole night. In fact, Wednesday, for a moment, we were commenting that it felt like things had slowed down because Tuesday was so energetic with the upbeat. But just in general, we are seeing an absolute bounce. I think you are all seeing a bounce since Kamala has become the nominee. I think that I'll just be frank with you all. A month ago, I have more hope for electing more Democrats in West Virginia today than I did a month ago. And it's because the amount of people that are coming out that are excited. And finally, I'll follow up with I'll end with this. I'm sorry, Tammy, for taking up too much time, but we also did a poll. We put a poll in the field, a legitimate poll through Celinda Lake, and so we're going to be sharing information on that in the coming days that'll help with messaging. But it's good news poll. And the bottom line is that, we've had a lot of sleeper Democrats and a lot of sleeper independents for a long time who haven't been coming out to vote. They haven't been motivated. They are motivated, very motivated. So, and reproductive freedom is absolutely the issue. Number one issue. Clean water, air, another issue. Healthcare costs, big issue. And frankly, democracy is still a big issue. So these are, we've been hammering on these issues now for over a year. We haven't been afraid to talk about reproductive freedom. But I think if you watched the DNC, you saw that this party and this leadership is taking a head-on approach. In fact, the Republicans don't know what to do because, by God, we have reclaimed freedom. We have reclaimed patriotism. And, we're not going back. And so the Democratic Party in West Virginia is right on board. They are winning issues, and we're going to pound it down their throats. So I appreciate everybody. Always, Pam, I see you have your hand raised.
Oh, I had a question too. Sorry, I couldn't figure out how to raise my hand.
Go ahead, Amanda. I'll let you go first since you
So-
can't figure that out.
Yeah, I'm actually at a headquarters that is filled with people right now where I am. I've got, you can send me all the volunteers that you possibly have. I'm actually in the process of a meeting to set up phone banking every Saturday. So I am getting ready to send you a shit ton of van requests, and I wanted to make sure that we could get those because we want to be able to phone bank. We want to do minivan.
Real quickly, I'll say we need to do a quick training on getting volunteers in because you don't need to send them to me. You should be able to get your volunteers on Vote Builder without me having to approve them. Okay.
Yep.
Vote Builder approval is primarily intended for people actually using the Vote Builder backend, creating lists and building the phone
I
bank.
can do minivan then. I can get them set up on it.
You should be able to, yes.
All right. We'll make it happen, Captain.
And thanks for bringing that up because we also are going to have a Vote Builder support system with our vendor. So if we have things that come in, but yes, like volunteers do not need to be run through the Vote Builder request if they're just making phone calls. And another reminder, you can do public virtual phone banks. We have worked with our partners at Train Democrats, the National Democratic Training Committee. They came and actually spoke to our breakfast last week. But we have plenty of resources when it comes to training up on Vote Builder, on virtual phone banks, on minivan, on canvassing. So reach out and we'll get you connected and we'll get it going. Pam?
Okay, just to follow up, what I was gonna say, and it just gets me so excited to see Amanda in there with all those people behind her. I was just very proud of watching our group, our delegates at the convention and the excitement and that greeting from West Virginia was just amazing. And I think this is the time that especially us as a group come together and unify and start helping each other in every possible way. We got counties that are a little more advanced on their technology and things like that. If somebody, if you guys would just say who you are and some of us need help or with, we need to ask Ryan, we just need to reach out and help each other and put a hand out to each other as we go forward and get this election and get some wins on this election. I think that would make everybody excited. So I just wanted to add that. And also, Ryan, I do want to extend my condolences to you for your loss of your father.
Oh, fuck you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Teddy,
Yeah,
did you need something?
no,
Okay.
background goings on.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna hop back on the volunteer thing Ryan started talking about. One of the things I wanted to ask you guys is, or advise, when you get these new volunteers in, make sure that you have something for them to do to keep them engaged. No matter what it is, make sure that they have something that keeps that enthusiasm going. My headquarters opens at 10. From 10 until 5, I didn't even get to sit down. I've had that many new volunteers come in today. The week prior, I had about 30 new volunteers come in and be trained. The ones I've gotten this week, they haven't been trained yet, but I'm getting them in. And I have set up phone banks. I have 4 separate phone banks going right now. I have postcards that are going out. I have people doing data entry. I went to my voter registration office and I got a list of all newly registered voters in Berkeley County for the last 6 months. And I'm having them do data entry into our system so that information could be shared out. And some of those people aren't on Vote Builder yet. So that's going to be an advantage there. Anything that, and like do that monthly, get a list of new voters and have them send out postcards to them, welcoming them. Just make sure that you have something for them to be engaged and keep them enthusiastic. Jared.
Is there an update coming to the Vote Builder information in September? Do I understand that correctly, that there's periodic updates by the state to Vote Builder and that there will be a new one coming soon? So
That's
if
my understanding, Ryan.
Oh, go ahead, Ryan.
So we received the voter file from the Secretary of State. It's typically monthly. However, it is not on a standard schedule. And because they send it out two different ways, we need one with the GIS data to give us our House and Senate districts. But yes, it typically goes out monthly.
This might be, so would it be advisable then if we're really doing longer term phone banks and postcarding that we should do saving a search rather than a static list within Vote Builder?
Yeah, I mean, not to get too technical, but if you're doing a list that is going to change, then it should be a search when you save it. And again, these are things that we're going to put out some like standardized searches so that everybody can just go in and grab the search. But yes, if you want to do a new voter registration, you can create a search that says, registered in, since January 1, and save it as a search, not a list. If you save it as a list, you're saving the list that you create from the search. That is important as well, depending on what you're doing, so that you can say, this is the actual list we mailed to, for example, or this is the, a hard list that you want to keep for that particular date. But a saved search, when you run it again, it will run it against the database and pull anything that matches that. When you save a list, it will only pull that particular list.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments, suggestions? Nope. Okay. Now, Ryan, you had discussed some Zoom training for canvassing. Do you want to cover that?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about with the National Democratic Training Committee. We're gonna get some training dates with them as well. But I got to be honest, guys, like we have an incredible amount of training on traindemocrats.org. They are our partner. When I first was introduced to Trained Democrats, I was actually surprised to see that many of the trainings were actually done by folks that I had been in-person trainings with. So there's a lot out there, but not only the trainings, and I really encourage you, go to traindemocrats.org, log in, with your email, because not only can you take courses for trainings, but there's also resources like scripts, like, there's examples of what you can use. There's a lot of that kind of stuff. But as far as doing like live trainings for us, it's virtually the same. We're gonna put out some standardized lists that counties can use. We've got standardized lists that candidates can use. But then of course we do a lot of one-on-one, and we're happy to do one-on-one with you. Again, we understand that people are different levels of use on Vote Builder, and that's fine. We just want to be supporting and assisting you using it at all. And again, if you're not at a position where you're comfortable hosting phone banks or anything like that, we're going to create ways for that to happen.
Okay. Next on the agenda is Pam Van Horn, president of the West Virginia Federation of Democratic Women. Can you go ahead and give us a report?
Yes. Oh, thank you for having me, Tammy. I appreciate it. And all of you
welcome.
Hardworking chairs. We are getting really excited for our 60th anniversary, our Diamond Jubilee of the Federation of Democratic Women. And that is when we officially organized, which was April 10th, 1964. But of course, Democratic women have been around since the party's been around. But we're having a big celebration here in Charleston. It's our annual meeting. And a lot of people on here I know have already registered to come, and we certainly welcome all the county chairs to come. And if you have women who are interested in participating, getting more involved, but we don't have a club in your county, they're certainly welcome. We have a full agenda that somebody remarked to me the other day, looks like America. So that is what we're trying to do, is to make sure that we have a diversity of thought and opinions and people who are in our annual meeting, who are speakers and doing training. Our women candidates will be speaking to us at various times. Kurt's going to come back and do some training on Vote Builder, and hopefully, connect people to the trained Democrats like Ryan was talking about. But just whatever we need to do to get people ready to do the GOTV program. I cast out a lot of nets to try to get like a named speaker and everything. And we just happened to get Jane Klebe, who is the Nebraska Democratic Party chair. And you guys have probably heard Teresa talk about this. She's been talking about Nebraska's GOTV program for the past several months. Well, Jane, who's chair there, is going to be with us the whole weekend. And she's going to help us with a GOTV training session on Saturday. And then she'll also be our keynote speaker at our Diamond Jubilee banquet on Saturday night. So we have a full weekend plan of training and inspiration. And, I have a huge stack of registrations that came in the mail today. And I just think we're going to have a really great time, a really great turnout. And I'm $70 to come. All your meals, all the materials, our training, the Federation greatly subsidizes this. So, but you're welcome to come. If you want to come down just for, like, the first evening, we have the Federation has a political committee called FAD PAC that we give money to our women candidates and GOTV efforts, that type of thing. But that night on Friday night is our FAD PAC reception, and that's a lot of fun. We have baskets to auction off, and we'll have music, and it's just a really relaxing night. So if you want to come down, there's no set price to come to that. That's included in the $70. But if you just want to come and throw us a couple bucks and have fun with us, we love that. So please, let your candidates know. I've let all the House of Delegates, State Senate, statewide candidates know about that. But, if you're local candidates, especially if they're pretty close down here to Charleston, they're more than welcome to come and participate. We introduce all the candidates on Friday night. Everybody gets a minute or so to speak, not 30, but a couple minutes to speak. And, and so it's just a chance to connect with Democratic women. So we're real excited about it, as you could tell. And I hope to see you. And if you have any questions, I'll drop some information to Jared and he can put it in the chat. So appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Pam. Appreciate you coming on. Okay, so next up is the good of the order, and we are going to start with Jared, and then anybody else after that who would like to speak.
So I put in my one email talking about house races were within 10, and I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention so that way we might think about how we want to focus the remaining time that we have. So these are the races that for the 2022 election. So of course it's not modeled for 24. So there might be additional, and I would need help with this list, but this is just what was publicly already available about what was considered close races in the House of Delegates within 10 points, either we won or lost. And then what I try to do is I input our current candidates with this, and then also the counties that they are in. And I just think that this would be a good, not to ignore any race, but these are some races where we're definitely going to want to think about coordination with the upper parts of the ballot, and then everything we can do to really try and make a difference within these districts specifically.
Okay.
And then actually here, I'll switch over to the Wikipedia page as well. This helps, but because you can see the margins by it then, if that helps for comparing your numbers. I did them in order of how close they were, and this is then the margins for these. So this is just something I'd want, for the good of the order.
Okay.
Might I interrupt?
Is that Mike Withers?
That is Mike Withers.
You may interrupt. Go right ahead.
Yes, I appreciate what Jared is offering as an insight in terms of how close these house races were. I would like to interject and bring in the issue of school closure and what I call the hopeless scholarship and its impact on schools. And you're seeing in Harrison County, other counties, uh, large amounts of money that's being taken out of the public school system budget and put into uh, charter schools, homeschooling, and all this. And so I think that what I've seen in the past, my success in politics has been involving groups of people, and namely the public education system was always one of the big players. And right now, I think they're asleep. So I think that we need, to the extent that we can involve those people, teachers and service personnel, because their jobs are at risk here. You're seeing Harrison County closing schools. You're seeing that happen in many other counties. And so I think to the extent that we can bring those people, involve them into this process, I think we're going to be a lot better off. Teachers, bus drivers, janitors, all of these people, their jobs are at risk. They need to become involved.
Just to
Okay.
follow up, not to jump in front of Barbara, but just because of what Chair Withers said about educators, I would encourage all chairs within VAN, there is that activist code of those that were tagged as public educators. Perhaps it would be good for us then to start looking at where these counties have been most impacted by these policies, and then cutting a list of Democratic teachers that have been tagged in VAN, and then perhaps inviting them to campaigns.
Okay, Barb.
Thank you. While we're talking about supporting our candidates and events and opening headquarters and attracting volunteers, if you have information that you'd like to share, if you send it to me at wvfdw1@gmail.com, I'll put it on our page. We're on X, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Threads. And we'd be happy, and Jared put it in the chat, we'd be happy to publish your events, whether your headquarters open or you're looking for volunteers or you're going to do phone banking, any information like that, we'd be happy to put it out there. We have a decent following, and we just want to help. We're all on the same team.
I appreciate that, Barbara, very much.
Yeah.
My apologies. Just a note, the email I sent was incorrect. I forgot a 1. I'm going to send a corrected update for Barb.
Thank you.
Okay. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. I do have one announcement, and that will be that we will be noticing the election for a new chair probably within the next week. So be on the lookout for that. And if no one has anything else, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll
I second.
That was Kathy, right?
Yeah, Kathy, Hancock County.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.